What's going on, everyone? Welcome back to the show. So we have two things to talk about. We do have some good news. The House passed a bill, so we're going to talk a little bit about that. I also want to take a look and listen to Senator Van Hollen. He's going to be talking about the Build Back Better plan. But first off, on this channel, we talk about money, news, and more. If that sounds like something interesting to you, please subscribe to the channel and hit that little bell notification. That way you'll get notified anytime we put out a video. And like always, if you see my name and a picture of me in the comment section, make sure you also see a check mark next to my name. That check mark signifies that it's me. If you do not see that check mark, it's not me. It's someone trying to impersonate me. Okay, so as I stated, we do have some good news. The House passed a bill. That bill will lift the debt ceiling. And so now it needs to go to the Senate. Now the Senate has to vote on this same bill. And what they're going to do first is they're going to have a cloture vote. And it looks like you'll have some support from Republicans when it comes to this cloture vote. And the cloture vote will just open up the opportunity for them to bring this bill to the floor to raise the debt ceiling. And so they only need 51 votes in order to raise the debt ceiling. And in order to get to that point, that's the cloture vote. The cloture vote, they need 60 votes. And so they will need some Republicans to come on board for that cloture vote. But after the cloture vote, then it will go to the 51 votes that they need. So they'll get 50 Democrats to vote for it. And then they'll have Vice President Kamala Harris come in and break the tie. And so that's what we're looking at when it comes to the debt ceiling. So when we're looking at things so far in December, we have funding for the government, at least extended to February, so that's good. And we have the debt ceiling. They've addressed the debt ceiling, so it looks like we won't be going into default. So that's good. Now we need to talk about the Build Back Better plan because that is the next thing on the list. Plus, we have to also talk about the NDAA. But today we're going to talk about the Build Back Better. So I'm going to take a look and a listen to Senator Van Hollen. He's going to be talking a little bit about the Build Back Better plan. So here we go.
Members of the Senate. Turning now to the Build Back Better Act, Majority Leader Chuck Schumer wants to pass this by Christmas. Is that realistic? I wanted to play something that Mitch McConnell said today on the floor.
But Americans are allowed to have different aspirations. Some families make different sacrifices to have a parent at home full time. Others prefer flexible middle grounds that involve part-time work plus in-home childcare. The Democrats' toddler takeover wouldn't give any of them a dime.
And it's very interesting just how he talks about this. Now, maybe in Kentucky, you have an opportunity to have one parent working and then have the other parent at home. But in a lot of states, that's just not a possibility. Both parents need to work because rent is high, mortgages are high, and so they don't have that opportunity. So this whole child tax credit is something that I think is helping a lot of families because now it gives them a little bit more flexibility when it comes to their spending because they have a little bit more money coming in. Now, understand, this is a tax cut. Okay, so when you hear people talking about, oh, it's just free money, it's just free money. No, it's an actual tax cut, and that's what needs to be put out there. They need to continue. And Senator Van Hollen talks a little bit about this, but they need to really hammer this down. This is a tax cut. Oh, you're against tax cuts for the families? Oh, you're against tax cuts for the poor? That's what needs to be put out there because, you know, a lot of politicians, they're okay with tax cuts for billionaires and for millionaires. But when it comes to people, working class people, when it comes to middle class people, that's when they get a little funny when it comes to tax cuts. So let's go ahead and hear what Senator Van Hollen has to say. Here we go.
So he's calling it a toddler takeover to give pre-K to kids.
Well, Andrea, first of all, apparently Mitch McConnell decided to forget about a provision that will expire at the end of this year that provides $3,600, up to $3,600 to every for families for every child. And we passed that as part of the American Rescue Plan earlier this year, lifted over, cut child poverty in half and is helping tens of millions of American families. Apparently, Mitch McConnell wants that to go away at the end of this year because it will, unless we pass the Build Back Better legislation. These are monthly tax cuts that are coming into families who have kids to help them make their meet their family budget, to help end the financial squeeze. And it goes to all families with kids. So Mitch McConnell apparently wants them to go without that tax cut. And he also opposes our efforts to close the tax loopholes for some of the biggest corporations in America, some of whom pay zero taxes. So apparently Mitch McConnell's okay with giving the big tax breaks to big corporations, but he doesn't want to give that tax cut to families with kids.
Yeah, and I misspoke because apparently he was speaking about the child tax credit rather than pre-K, but you got the point clearly that that's what he seems to be opposing. Do you think there's a way that you can get this passed? There is a legislative strategy, as I understand it, to attach the debt ceiling reform to the Defense Authorization Act bill, rather to reconciliation, and get that through so that then they could come back and have a separate vote on the debt ceiling, which would then only have to be passed by 51 votes, or is some sort of a three-step process.
Yeah, I'm all in favor of reforming the debt ceiling. In fact, we should get rid of the debt ceiling. It's an anachronistic provision that says that we have to vote in order to pay the bills that are already due and owing, right? If you or I didn't make a mortgage payment, we would feel the consequences. If the United States defaults on the obligations that are due and owing, the whole economy craters. So we should reform it, but at the very least, Senator McConnell and Republicans should allow the Democrats to vote to do the right thing. And this procedure you just outlined, coming over with the NDAA, but having a separate, just 51 Senate vote on the debt ceiling would take care of that. Better that Republicans actually help us in the country, but at least get out of the way.
Okay, so that was Senator Van Hollen, and it's just so crazy how when you're looking at Senate and you're looking at our government as a whole, just how things are and how these different procedural votes need to happen, and just the reporter explaining or kind of walking through what needs to happen. It's confusing, and it's just sad because that's why we have these log jams. That's why things aren't getting done, because there's so many different loopholes and so many different things that need to happen in order for us to just get simple things done. And I mean, just looking at this whole debt ceiling thing, and I've talked about this before, but when it comes down to we've spent the money already, and now we need to vote on allowing us to pay for what we spent money on already. It doesn't make any sense. I mean, no one in their right mind would handle their books like this. We wouldn't be in a situation where you go to a restaurant, you sit down, you eat a meal, and then after you've eaten that meal, then you start thinking, okay, well, we need to vote on if we're going to pay for this or not. I mean, it's ridiculous. You buy a house, and then after you buy the house, then you have a vote to see if you're going to actually pay your mortgage. I mean, it's ridiculous that we have politicians that are, I mean, that we've allowed this to get to this point where we have politicians going back and forth and trying to determine if they're going to pay for things that they've already spent the money for. It's just, I don't know what to say when it comes down to it. But I will say the good news is debt ceiling averted, a shutdown of the government averted. Now we're going to move forward with the Build Back Better. We'll see if they can get this done by the end of the year. I have my doubts. Of them getting this done before the end of the year, just because I don't see them moving fast enough when it comes to Build Back Better. Now, when it comes to the other things, it looks like they were able to figure some stuff out. But when it comes to the Build Back Better plan, I think we're in a situation where it's probably going to get kicked down the road into 2022. And you're not hearing much of Senator Manchin anymore, right? You're not hearing him talk a lot, which means that negotiations are probably not happening at this point. And until they start negotiating again, I don't think they can move forward with this Build Back Better plan. But I want to know what you guys think, so let me know down below. If you like this video, please give me a thumbs up. Please subscribe for more, and I'll talk to you in the next one. Bye.